When you hear the word scout, I imagine you instantly get an image of someone used for reconnaissance, probably making them A, not a direct combatant, and B, covert and quick. In Team Fortress 2, the scout is the loudest class, who is a typically lime green covered absolute god of offense and defense, who perhaps has the greatest killing power in the entire game. This character, this lank, has the greatest disconnect in terms of lore and related content compared to the actual in-game character. In the lore, he's the brunt of jokes. He's made fun of for being lame or bad or whatever, but in-game he has no regard for life and can carry every single engagement literally single-handedly. Welcome to Seer Says Lesson 1. If someone is touching you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, it's probably the scout. This class possesses strengths unknown to the rest of the cast for one simple reason. He's covered in lime. Also, he's very fast. Yeah, so the mobility discussion, a little chat of flexibility, maneuverability, adjustability, are simply all long-winded ways of saying that Scout has the most oppressive strength in the game. This guy's an absolute head shitter. That's a guy that shits on heads. Obviously, running faster than everyone else is step 1. Step 2 is having a double jump baked in. Step 3 is having unlocks that give you the triple jump, the higher jump, the greater speeds, or even the fucking quintuple jump. Okay, I'm being too positive too quickly. Let's take a step back, relax, and figure out if the Scout is truly the best class in Team Fortress 2. Well, I have a little formula, don't you know? There's 2 seats of a 4-way race remaining, and to determine if Scout deserves one of those spots, I examine his power in the context of casual, competitive, and man versus machine. I would love to, but I can't call this guy with the community has quite kindly nicknamed him for fear of getting the big YouTube de-advertising dick in my butt, so I'm going to refer to him as the Scout. All you have to do is drop the O, and that's the nickname that they normally use, but for us, he'll be the Scout. One big censorship. I like to touch on class reputations, and it's no exaggeration. People find this guy the most annoying in the whole cast. But the casual community doesn't realize that you need to respect a good scout player because they are pushing the probably highest skill ceiling character in the game to its limits. And physically, the good scout player is pushing his metaphorical large log up your heavy hole. Here's an equation. Speed plus one of the coolest guns in FPS history equals scary. I have to fawn real quick about this design, which is heavily inspired by some of the most powerful designs in the FPS genre. The scattergun, the double-barreled shotgun, the super shotgun, 2 barrels, 1 motive to fill ass with meat shot. There has been an evolution of this kind of thing, and in Team Fortress 2, the fusion comes together to create an exhilarating experience of movement, motion, and might. I love Scout, which, to some, makes me a sick, twisted freak, but frequent viewers already knew that. It also means I could be biased about how Scout is. But let's start simply. Let's give an objective look at his primary, secondary, and melee categories in order to see if his loadout choices reflect my high opinions. Primary Scout weapons have a range, much like everyone else, but the difference is that the range is better than most unlocks in the game, all the way up to a top 5 weapon. If I had any motivator to make some nomenclature about a weapon such as the Force in nature, I'd say it's like a piano being shoved up the rear in 2 shots or less. Same with the soda popper. These things are designed to ram a large... I'm going too hard on the ramming X up the Y this week. I gotta move on. You know, short stuff actually kinda sucks, so forget my previous points about every weapon the Scout has being ridiculous. And actually, for your own benefit, probably go ahead and forget every point I've ever made on any topic. Babyface's Blaster, which gives you even more run speed with a laundry list of things to keep in mind. This item isn't that great either, to be honest. And then we have the Backscatter, another mediocre item. Perhaps Scout actually sucks to balls. Haha, but wait a second, that's when my big point all comes together. These mediocre weapons all have one thing in common. They are scatter guns. Scatter some fucking ass all over the ground. Anyone familiar with the basic game concepts, I guess, would know that shotguns are good right up close. And usually the difficulty in many different FPSs is that no one can get close without being holified by the opposition. But that's why this class works. That's why this class is broken. Scout possesses 125 HP, same as all the other lower HP classes. But his maneuverability is so high and his body is so thin that he can just chad right up to you and plant 2 shots right in your face and you can't stop him. But then to add on, he has got some of the best poke potential in the game with his secondaries. All of the pistols have various merit and support his efforts from afar, such as taking care of mini sentries. And then he can equip specialized things like soda pop, milk bottle, cocaine. That's cocaine, said to sound dumb. I usually have a reason to do it, but I don't this time. And then he has like some kitchen knife. It's a pretty good item, who cares? And then the melee range from whatever to however to gloss over because they're all alright. You know, they got some functionality, but they're all dull to list out, so we're moving on for greener pastures. Welcome to Casual. This is the hunting ground where you can just cut loose and really start demolishing people until there's 9 engineers for some reason, and then it's right the fuck back to spawn with you. Scout has incredible freedom when the opposition doesn't run the most random lineup of like 50 heavies. When it's just a nice mix of things, you will have an incredibly fun time just tearing it up. Also, the good news is that you can ignore the objectives, despite that being one of the best parts of Scout as well. You double complete all objectives, so you essentially are mandated to stand near them, but you can absolutely leave that to someone who has played the game for 2 hours, while you, the guy who's played for 3 hours, can go waltz around and demonstrate your Scout superiority. To reflect your position as slime, make sure to cover yourself with lime. That is the way people know you are good at the game. Speaking of how good at the game you are, the best part of Casual Scout is that the distance between you, if you're good, and the people who are not good at the game is staggering. You will find people losing sight of their monitor as you leap around like some crazed maniac. But there is a method to the madness, a way to comprehend how to act and how to move, and I think it's the biggest skill set in the game. Yeah, aiming is the big idea. Let's all install Aim Lab and work on our sensitivity and tug our dicks to the notion of some sick shots we make, but when it comes down to it, you need to train your mind in order to play this class the best. Scenario 1. There's 9 players attacking you at once. It does happen sometimes. There are 4, count them 4, projectile users that are going to shoot at you horizontally because they figure that is the plane of movement you are going to use to dodge around it. You surprise them by jumping once into the air, evading all of their attacks. Oops, now wait a second, there's 5 hit scans shooting at you at the same time. Jumping has now given them an enormous advantage. Now to be honest, at this point, most 9v1s end with you dying because somebody won't balls it up, but occasionally they literally all will. You utilize the double jump to push aggressively towards anyone you can. The aim comes into play now where you really need to put someone down in an efficient amount of time. You kill, I don't know, somebody, and now you've narrowed this impossible fight down to an 8v1. 2 things about this. Firstly, even if you die now, you've done something crucial for your team. You, through sheer willpower and speed, pulled out a frag that might win the game in the end. Secondly, you're not dead yet, and your fight has gotten a little easier. Repeat this concept of using Future Sight to pull down some of the most absurd kills in the game, and while in maybe 1 to 2,000 hours of playtime you'll win a 9v1, here's the distinction over the other classes. No one else will ever win a 9v1 because they don't have enough time. Soldier, for example, can hit a lot of people at once, but if they're spread out at all, you are dead. Pyro has to clear distance linearly, so he fails. Demo can only be so godlike, and at a point the expectation that you can hit a projectile on everyone at variable distances is ridiculous. Heavy literally sucks shit. Engineer Sentry Gun can fight only one person at a time. The guy named Medic isn't killing 9 people for reasons that are probably understandable and related to the fact that his name is Medic. Sniper literally has no time or chance to kill that many people unless they're on the other side of the map, and that doesn't constitute a fight in my mind. Spy has a chance if they are all sleeping, which I guarantee a good 3 to 4 of the average pubber will not be asleep. But this is casual. What about the game mode where people will know how to win fights against good scouts? Welcome to You Have to Play the Objective, the game mode. Now sit on it, you dick. Yeah, so you can't ignore this component of the class anymore, especially in 9v9. You're going to be living on these things. In 6v6, the objective is usually a secondary concept to the actual team fight, so you can ignore it as you duke it out. Scout is all about picking fights, and these players will have much bigger craniums than the casual counterparts. If you run at them, chances are they will hit you on your way in, unless you time it correctly. Scout has the greatest strength in competitive basically by saying, "This sucks ass, I'm leaving," or "You suck ass, I'm entering." Also, a brief aside to explain the competitive game in greater detail. You will usually find scouts on the flank, guarding against other flank-based characters. Sometimes they'll rotate to the other group of players, distinguished as the combo, and engage in a heads-up attack. So there's a unique versatility in your actions, simply because you can actually run to the other side of the map over and over again. Who else could do that? Spy? Of course not. Spy is one big getaway from being a useless fat sack of shit who can't traverse distance at all. And Spy is actually faster than most of the classes. Also, he's very good at getting the best kill in the game, which is on Medic, so that's nice. Anyway, Scout is good in 6's, well, he's good in Highlander too. Here's some MVM, and we finish up. Here is a surprise. Scout is necessary and all important to run in this game mode as well. Since this is a PvE game mode, and he has randomly good supporting PvE abilities, he's a shoo-in. Plus the upgrades are based around money collection, and he both magnetizes the money to himself, and it heals him. Yeah, okay, seems fair and balanced to me. Otherwise, there's a big lame-ass movement where the Scout player in the game mode will collect money and ignore doing damage, but then the Chad players, like me, I'm the Chad player in this context, will forgo all defense and realize that pumping damage into the scattergun will just make you ridiculously strong. Or just go for defense and never die and you have no fun. Just literally plays the game for you. Good. Okay, so verdict time, and since it's Scout, we're going for speed above everything else. He is taking one of the remaining 2 seats because he's unbelievable at everything and can kill 9 people alone. Now, I have gone over 7 classes already, which means that by process of elimination, only 1 more class can get a seat in the final competition to determine who is the best class in Team Fortress 2. And these are the remaining 2, the Sniper and the Medic. I have mentioned the medic in every single video up to this point, I think, actually. I'm not checking that, so I think that's right. Anyways, so yeah, it's gonna be Sniper next time.